Good afternoon, everybody. Sam here at Aullwood. Today, we're going to be looking into birds that are nesting here at Aullwood. So far, we've looked at spring wildflowers. We've looked at vernal pools, what's going on in springs. Now, let's go ahead and look into the life of our feathery friends during this time.
Okay, we're up at the farm, and a little thing before checking nest boxes is you want to go ahead, knock on the box, make sure no one's home. Open up the box slowly. And then just like I am, I'm going to check with my phone. Wow, 4 eggs. So this is an eastern bluebird nest. Of course, the eggs coloring was blue. And look at the nest material, a lot of dried grasses. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, close this up. You don't want to spend that much time at your box. The other thing is you don't want to make a path to the box if you have it out in the field. Predators usually will follow that path to the nest box. So try to reduce that. But throughout this video, I'm going to talk about a lot of different birds nesting here at Aullwood and the different materials that they actually use when nesting. So if you find a nest on your property, in a box, around your house, hopefully one of the birds I talk about today will be that bird because they use specific materials in their nest. Okay, so we're up at the farm and I found a cardinal nest. Now, there are the eggs. And the thing about cardinals, is they like building in bushes like this. And especially one with lots of thorns on them. So that's why I was saying a lot of owie, because these guys like building in bushes like this to help protect from predators. You can barely see it. You can see that kind of bundle right there. But unfortunately, they do build sometimes in honeysuckle, and they actually have a higher percentage of predation when nesting inside of honeysuckle. So a good bush like this with a lot of thorns, a lot of protection, good job for those cardinals. Okay, we're right in front of Aullwood right now. And I wanted to check on, every spring, our little residential Phoebe's nest. So this comes from an eastern Phoebe, which is a type of flycatcher that is native to Ohio. And this is another bird that likes to build near humans. So it's on top of this light here. And it actually looks like it has a little bit of deer fur mixed in with the nest, but it's mostly moss. A little bit of dry grass, but not too much. They build on ledges, pretty much the same places where you can find an American robin nest. You might find a Phoebe's nest. But this is, I think, the 3rd year in a row it has come back and nested. Sometimes it builds its nest on top of the same nest that it used before, or it builds on the other light. But yeah, they usually have a light pink egg, and this guy has been coming around, so I'm happy to see he's back. We're out here in the prairie, checking some of the boxes, and I found this in the middle of the path. Now this is a barred owl feather. Obviously you can tell because of the pattern, but one way to tell with owl feathers is look at those ends. They're very fine. All right, owl feathers have these very fine hairs on them that act as essentially silencers. They can fly completely silent. So just found this out here, probably an owl last night, hunting for some mice or some voles out in the fields. So cool, we know we have a barred owl around. So I found the nest that was starting to be built. This is a tree swallow nest. We're out here in the prairie. Now, these tree swallows, they usually start nesting come May, but they look somewhat like a bluebird nest. Now, the thing that they do that's really cool is they top their nest usually with duck feathers or other bird feathers. And what the males will do, and this is something you could do too, is if you take chicken feathers, duck feathers, and you can actually throw them up in the air, and the males will swoop down and grab the feathers and bring them back to their nest. Or if you have a pond or a body of water, the feathers will actually float on the top, and the tree swallows will swoop in and pick up the feathers. Now, sometimes the males will fly really high up in the air with these feathers and then drop them, and then hopefully a female will catch it right after them. But then they'll add it to the nest, and that's a major part of nesting for tree swallows. It's really cool. So we're out here. Oh, you can hear the eastern towhee singing above me. Don't mind him. But we're out here in Fox Meadow, and I found this really cool nest. It's just started, it's not finished. But this right here is a Carolina chickadee nest. So one way you can tell it's Carolina chickadee is you see these little bark strips. The female usually adds that as the base, and then a little bit of moss in here. All right, so the rest of it will be filled with mostly moss, and that will be done by the male and female. Now, something that's really cool about Carolina chickadees, all right, this will blow your mind. In a single day, they can feed anywhere between 300 to 600 caterpillars to their young in a single day, okay? Their nesting period is anywhere between, I think, 13 to 18 days, okay? So about, let's say, 400 caterpillars a day for 18 days. They can feed anywhere between 6,000 and 9,000 caterpillars in a single brood, okay? And what that means is just one clutch of eggs, one nesting period, but they have multiple broods throughout the year. Sometimes bluebirds can have 3, even 4 broods per year. Tree swallows usually only have 1. But chickadees feed a lot of caterpillars. And where they get all these caterpillars is there's a couple species of trees that have the highest diversity of caterpillars. Those are oaks, willows, cherry, and walnut, okay? So if you're looking through those warblers come this spring, those 4 tree species are a great place to kind of search and hang out near. If you know any high ridgetop with a lot of old, mature oaks, they're going to have the highest amount of caterpillars. So that's where the warblers are going to go. And that's where those chickadees get over 6,000 caterpillars to feed to their young. Pretty unbelievable. So we're here on the Geology and Fossils Trail, okay? And there's the prairie over there. A lot of fallen logs, a lot of fallen branches. This is perfect habitat for a Carolina wren. So Carolina wren nests are a little kind of hectic. They use a lot of different materials. They use dead leaves, they use moss, they use twigs. It looks like some kind of older berry in there, maybe even poison ivy berries that are older, trying to spruce up the place a little bit. They'll use fir, there's some pine needles in there. So again, I'm able to tell these bird species because every bird species uses a certain type of material in their nest. All right, and this is one way that you can identify them. And these Carolina wrens, actually, they are known to build their nests in a lot of different places. In baseball gloves, in coat pockets, in old boots. My brother had one built into his kayak. But they usually build it in a cone shape. They can pretty much fill that space with their nest. And they have usually a side entrance hole. But they usually like building near humans. They eat a lot of spiders, a lot of insects. So if you don't like spiders, these are great birds to have nested around your house. Well, I want to thank you all for watching this week. And what I'm going to do now is go on a website called nestwatch.org. And I'm going to enter in the nesting species that I saw today. This is a great community science project if you find any nesting birds around your house or your property that you can go on and submit your data to. You're helping ornithologists who study native nesting birds throughout the country with the data that they need to help better understand our nesting birds. So I want to thank you. Have a great week, and good luck finding some nests.